All right, good evening, everyone. Sorry, I realized I didn't press record on the video I tried to do at 4 p.m., so now it's 8 p.m. Well, the market just closed. I mean, futures are obviously still going. You got a little bit of pump during the after hours here on SPY. It was down like 50 cents or so, now flat at 8 pennies. You got a little bit of jump or a little bit of pump on Apple. So the latest news on Bitcoin right now, if you've heard of the debacle, the weirdness that's going around. So apparently, right about 4 p.m., right after the market closed, there was a tweet by the SEC chief saying that the Bitcoin ETF was approved. Market jumped up. I mean, well, the Bitcoin hit 48,000 or so, and then immediately sold off on the news that it was actually not approved and that their Twitter account was hacked. I mean, just a side commentary, guys. I mean, this is 2024, and our government's Twitter got hacked into with this nonsense, and it's just very, very difficult. And plus, I mean, for those of you that were holding Mara shares or even any shares with me, all that sell-off was just ridiculous. Of course, Mara recovered, but still, down 78 cents, 3% in the post hours here. Just very dramatic. Feels like 2020 all over again with the SEC, with the FinTwit, and anyways, that's just what it is. But let's go back, hop back into SPY. All right, so what we were looking for today, as I mentioned, was that, okay, is it gonna be inside chop day? And the answer is yes. We got an inside chop day. We have it double topped at 475. All right. But the good news is that we did hold the 20-day moving average with the stochastics on the daily curling back up here and the MACD curl. But unfortunately, here's the deal that is that you got 3 straight days of the increase with 3 straight days of decrease on volume. And that's something concerning to me, all right, as we head into the CPI print on Thursday morning. And so my thought is, so far tomorrow, this looks like a cup and handle trying to break out. I do think that tomorrow you'll see a reattempt at the 475 level, and anything beyond that, guys, I think I'm going to grab some puts for the CPI play. Not that because I'm bearish on the stock market, but only I'm bearish on this month's particular reading. If you guys go to the Cleveland Feds, inflation nowcasting, and they are projecting a 3.32% CPI with core CPI 3.93 month over month, all right, at 0.30 and 0.33. And so if you go look at the Wall Street consensus here, all right, oops, I pressed the wrong button. All right, if you go to the Wall Street consensus for the CPI this week, is that remember last month CPI was at 3.1%. They are forecasting it at 3.2% for the month of December. So 3.2%, and Cleveland is saying it's 3.3. If you get a reading at 3.3, I think the market's going to dump, and it's going to perfectly create that left shoulder and right shoulder that we've been talking about on last week's weekly video. So you got the head and shoulders pattern developing. If we do get a little boost tomorrow, I think I'm going to short it and buy some puts overnight for the event. I'm just not very bearish or bullish on this particular reading. However, I am going to say that February's reading is going to be very good. All right. It's going to come in actually under 3.0. But the way that the market is looking right now, going back to December when we hit these levels, just a lot of choppiness, a lot of indecision, right? So that's something to be careful about. At least that's my plan tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But let's say we do dip tomorrow and tomorrow's a super red day, then I would be a little bit more inclined to buy calls for the event. It just depends on where we possibly end up tomorrow. So now, obviously today was very choppy, right? Once we hit that double top 475, all right, it's chopped around the 473 level, all right, and just market didn't do much. ended up being red on the day. All right. Now, what's interesting also is that the QQQ, while SPX in your SPX filled the gap on the gap down today, which caught a lot of bears, short. When they ran it back up, is that, the Qs are actually looking a little bit better. It's actually above the 20-day, made a higher high, actually closed higher than yesterday's close. And you got the stochastics turning up with a gap to fill at 407. So I do think that if we're going to get a pump tomorrow, it's going to come out of Q. All right. It's going to come out of Q to go fill that gap. And possibly Apple, maybe you got a little bit of boost on Apple this afternoon in the extended hours. So one thing that I'm super cautious about is that, I know the Nvidia run is phenomenal. All right. Look at what happened in this 4 days that we went from oversold CCI, right, into overbought CCI in a matter of 4 days. And this is the highest reading of CCI since July 13th of 2023. And we all know what happened after July all the way down to October, right? So this is something that I'm super cautious about, because if they decide to take profit on Nvidia, all right, and it'll dump the Q and it can drag the market down. So be careful what you wish for. I'm all about stocks moving in a good direction, but not like this. We went from 474 to 531. I'm sorry, 542. That's about 70-point move in a matter of 4 days on Nvidia. And to me, that is unhealthy. You don't want to see stocks doing that, especially a market leader. Somebody else has to become a market leader, and that could be Microsoft. Look at Microsoft with a nice move today as well off the 20-day moving average. Now, I'll just kind of give you guys that word of caution. Now, I am holding PayPal overnight. The reason is because I've seen this too many times when they reject a trend line, all right, and next day then it goes over. So that's what I'm thinking about tomorrow, that it actually pops over the trend line. Today was a failed test, but it doesn't mean it fails completely and comes back to $50, right? That's not the case. Of course, unless the market sells off. But I don't think that, I think that there's a move here for PayPal. Now, going over to Tesla. All right, Tesla, ladies and gentlemen, I like it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a failed breakout yesterday above the trend line, popped down on the trend line, closed under the 50-day moving average here. Not a big deal on Tesla. Came very, very, very close to this 200-day moving average. And that's not a bad thing, right? Look what happened here when we hit that 200-day average on December 13th. It went on a one and a half week run to 265. There's a lot of choppiness with Tesla. Look at the stochastics here, that is curling. All right, this is a curl. It has to take, there's a lot of choppiness when it gets down here. But once that thing K and D line or this line starts curling, you may see a great move on Tesla. And what I've noticed lately too is, of course, Tesla and SPY kind of moves inverse. All right, which is really, really weird. It's like the rest of the mega caps pump and Tesla dumps. It's just the way it goes. But if you look at Apple today, not a bad close. Close above 185. All right. Close above 185 today, which is great. And also a little boost in the afternoon here. Got a hammer day off the 100-day moving average. I still hold the March calls. I'm up on them where I'm not going to average up, but I'll buy some, like if I see it like a nice reversal like we did today, then I could buy some February calls and scalp it, or, a few weeks out, etc., and scalp it, because that was a really nice dip to the 182 just to retest and fake out the bears at that 100-day moving average. And we caught a good chunk of that. All right. So Apple was a good play today. Amazon, of course, was phenomenal today for me, at least. I mean, it's just that we caught this move right off the lows at 148, jumped up to 131. So Amazon's having a great day. But like I said, I'm very concerned about the way that AMD, look at this 4-day move, fill this gap here, trap the bears. I'm kind of concerned about Nvidia going into the next couple of days. If it's not CPI that dumps the market, it could be Nvidia that dumps the market. So just got to be careful here. All right, guys. Hope you guys have a great evening, and I'll see you guys back in a few hours in the morning.